Okay, so okay, whatever. All right, I am having some technical difficulties, y'all. So if you're seeing me struggle right now, then it is what it is. So whatever. All right, well, looks like we're good to go. So I'm gonna do my introductions. Hey, y'all, happy Tuesday, and thank you guys for joining me for my lazy journey. I am excited to bring another dope service provider to you guys for your business, for your home life, whatever you want to use them for. If you want to learn more about my lazy journey, just check out the YouTube channel because, as y'all know, I like to give my guests the platform. I like to let them speak, and you guys don't need to hear me ramble because there's other videos of me doing that. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce today's guest, Miss Jillian. I love her, guys, so much. You guys are going to love her too. So, Jillian Mama J Love co-designs with global majority leaders who want to put an end to massive oppressive leadership with sustainability, joy, and liberation. Like, who doesn't like that? And this is my favorite, y'all. As a JEDI. So, if y'all know what JEDI stands for, it stands for Justice, Equity, Diversity, Inclusion. The strategist and Black queer dual CEO and founder. She integrated 2 decades of lived and professional experiences to model the bite-sized and deliberate action every darn, I'm not considered curse word, y'all, today, every dang day with the intentional justice method. So you guys, y'all get ready to learn more about her. I want to let her do the full talking so you guys can fully understand what this means and reach out to her. So Miss Jillian, I'm going to go ahead and bring you up now. So
Hello,
yay,
hello.
confetti. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and dive in. I know in your bio you already told us a little snippet of how you got into it, but could you tell us again, like how did you end up where you are at right now?
Yeah, well, it has been a journey, that is for sure. This past June, I've celebrated 10 years of entrepreneurship. Yay, which means it's been a long road in which really navigating my own identity as a Black queer woman in this world in America,
Yeah.
and in particular that really breaking open when I became a mama. Now almost 8 years ago, that journey, and in doing so, really getting clear on the values that matter most to me as I help create the world that really we're handing over to our young people. So, for me, explicitly, my JEDI work started actually in my undergrad. When I began to notice the differences in access and treatment of Division I female student athletes, and a professor overheard me really griping around this, being like, "Why is it different?" It's in that moment, it's
Mhm.
the 2000s.
Right.
Why is this still happening? And she really encouraged me to learn more about Title IX, and that single yet very deliberate activated my own equity journey, beginning to unravel the inequities, the injustices that I was noticing and, quite frankly, had always felt in my body, but didn't have the language or the frameworks
Mhm.
to discuss it. So I've really been on, as you mentioned in my bio, a 2 decade journey, really pulling together the various mixed method tools, interdisciplinary tools that I use to help leaders create and co design justice.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of gave me a little bit into the service part. So could you tell us exactly if we were to book you for a service right now, what services do you offer us?
Yeah, so right now, today, I offer a VIP day, and I offer that as a leadership coaching day. So, after 4 very intentional years of being in the deep end with a handful of organizations, I have created transformation in a day by really it's a multi-step process, but you get to experience Mama J in a day, but it really starts with some pre-work, right? And having folks reflect on your role as a leader, what you value, how things are named and shared, documented, right? Like, do you have core values for your organization? Do you have a DEI statement? and using, and if not, creating them, but using those as a foundation to really begin the work as a leader to integrate diversity, equity, and inclusion into your work. Because here's what I've come to learn. You can always hire a consultant, but equity will always be a side project if you take that route. If you really stand in your power and privilege of being a business owner, a CEO, a leader, you're integrating this work into everything you do. So that is at the core of the VIP day, and really giving you the time and space to plan, because as you know, in the work you hold, right? We always say, oh, we'll do that later. We'll do it later. And with what we're experiencing in our world right now, later is deadly. And so we really need to do unusual things because it's an unusual time. And so I'm really excited to shorten that transformation time, instead of it being 6 months, 18 months, 3 years, really saying, I can give you the tools that I've practiced firsthand and have data to back it up with you in a day, so that you already have a plan for the next 90 days of how you as a leader are going to take bite size and deliver action.
I love it. Okay, because this is such important work, and especially because I feel like now, especially with everything that's been happening during like COVID and just in general, like it's really been highlighted. I love that it's happening because we really needed to have a conversation around this. So, with that being said, with the service that you offer, what should someone, is there something someone should do? Is there a way for someone to prepare before they work with you, or does it not matter? Like, should they have something going for themselves, or like, what should they do before like contacting you?
Yeah, so, I like to think in threes. So I was thinking of 3 ways in particular that folks can kind of do pre-work before the pre-work. And this is not to say that, like, if you don't have these, it just means probably you need my VIP day even more so that I can help you get clear on them. However, if you have them, it just means we get to build from that foundation, right? So I know there's lots of DIYers out there who want to like get started before the work. And so what I would say is get clear on your values. How will, not how it's going to, but how will it as of now, right? You get to decide as a CEO, like, sure, you haven't done it before, but you can start today with how will justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion show up in your business? How do you as a leader want to embody those values? Do they align with values maybe you've already outlined, or maybe it's time to do a refresh? One of my favorite books right now is Black Sheep, which takes you through like this whole process of really honing your values, which I have 7. And for a long time, I'm like, oh, that's a lot. But even as I went through that process, it actually continued to stay true to me that I couldn't, kind of rebrand or regroup a value. And so maybe it's about adding, some values that you've had in that like soul place or in your heart, like, you need to be addressing, but you're not. So that's what I'd say first. Get clear on your values. And then it's about, what are you committing to? So how will you commit to what you say you value, right? It's really easy to identify a value and say, this is important to me. It's easy to talk the talk, right? What I'm asking you to do is, how will you commit to living into that value? Because that's where this work, I think, is really evolving, is that it's about embodiment. It's not just about, having the value or saying the thing. It's also, how are you doing that thing too? And then 3 is communication. It's the thread that has woven many a tapestry across all the organizations I've worked in, and with fellow leaders, that the time is now to be clear and transparent about what you value. So there's so many things happening right now. There's no way we can do it all. And quite frankly, no one's asking us to. The
Right.
key is, what do you value and what are you going to do about it? So those are, I'd say, the 3 ways that folks can begin to do the important deep work as a leader around what you value and how you're going to show up in this work going forward. And I think it's also a really beautiful time because we're at that halfway mark in the year. And for some of us, like, this is the time that we actually feel more lit up, right? It's summer here in our hemisphere. It's like warmer. We feel the energy. And so I say use that to help fuel you as we go into fall and winter. And it, begins to naturally become more dark, and inevitably things rise up in the darkness, right? And so we get a chance to then practice our values, in those darker times, that will bring us back again to summer.
It. And I was like, thank you, because I've actually had like conversations with people trying to figure out, like, they want to get started with this, but they're like, where do I begin at? Because there's so much that goes into it. So like, it's really overwhelming. So thank you for dropping those 3 tips. And just, I want to highlight too, you guys, like, if you guys want to get this work done, like, please take advantage of VIP day. I'm personally doing that too, because I know, even though I have values and everything, I know I need to do a better job articulating that. So just a little hindsight, guys. So anyway, just throwing myself in there. But anyway, so you do such important work. So how do you implement, like, do you delegate, or do you have a coach, or what do you do, like, to outsource or like create boundaries within your company?
It's been a journey. And I think that's like what feels like the beautiful serendipity of this conversation, right? Is that one of the things I love about you is that you are reframing lazy, right? Moving out of hustle culture. And for me, the journey to laziness has been just that, a journey. Because honestly, it's been one, as one who has been conditioned to do it all and look like a rock star while doing it, it's been this decade-long journey of having to start with a side hustle and still having a 9-to-5 and evolving and having a kid and being like, really, is this what I'm going to do? Right. And like these multiple moments in my journey where it activated another part of like the breaking open, that all of that has led to, for me, in these intersecting pandemics, has been, I can't do it all. It's unlearning, not doing it all, and relearning that I needed help. And so as I was connecting in various virtual communities, I came across you and I was like, yes, someone is actually teaching the thing, like supporting the thing that everyone says you should have, but no one actually like talks about or shows you how to do it. And so my journey has really been about supporting fellow Black and Brown leaders doing the work that's in alignment with their strengths so that I can do my work in alignment with my strengths, right? And so I'm still learning. I'm still learning to like receive the help and ask for help and delegate. But I think in finding folks, that are in alignment with my values has helped me practice that. And I'm still very much working on it. I mean, believe me, I have big dreams for automation that isn't happening yet, but that's okay. Like, because that's the journey, right? I'm in a place now that I'm so clear with what I'm doing and who I'm serving that it's going to get easier to do that level of automation or laziness because of the pre-work I've done all these years. So I'd say probably the biggest thing has been boundaries, right? That it really all boils down to valuing the strength in others, like I mentioned, and setting healthy boundaries.
I love it. Oh goodness, I'm glad. So before we even get into like how we connect with you and everything, so do you have anything coming up, like anything we should be looking for, like in the fall or maybe even next year, What should we see coming from Miss Julie?
Oh, you're tapping into my dreams, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in an interesting time. So I am currently, I have a one-on-one coaching package that I'm offering to Black leaders. It hasn't been fully announced, but I'm naming it here because I think what's really important is like we get to protect our peace. And in particular, one of the ways I'm exploring that is also with pricing and really getting clear that I've, in the spirit of setting healthy boundaries, right? I've needed to hone in on serving global majority leaders so then I could basically build back up my reserves to do what I know is also a superpower, which is
Right.
working with white women. I was birthed from one, I married one, and then divorced. Like I have a superpower, and I've needed to learn the healthy boundaries necessary. And so, in the fall, you're going to see, more offerings that are more dual, right? That is more like, this is for folks of color. These are for white co-conspirators. And playing with price point as a way of building in reparations for the emotional mental labor that is needed to do that level of work with white women and also how can their investment in their work really build a fund to also support Black leaders who want to work with me, but for capitalistic reasons they don't maybe have a budget for PD at the level that I serve. So I'm trying to play with how can I work the both and, right, of being of service, but recognizing what's required of me and the individual based on where we are in our anti-racist journey.
Okay. I'm excited.
A little provocative, I know. Yeah, you heard it here first, something I'm playing with, but I think that's the power that I'm really embracing that I have as a disruptor and dismantler. We're in unusual times, and to continue to move forward that business as usual has to be the case, I think is a fallacy, and giving our power away to corporations who are telling us what it should look like for all of us when that's not our reality. So, I want to be of service, but I also want to acknowledge what it takes of me being of service to do this work.
Okay, I love it. All right. I'm glad you brought
that was going to flow, but you tapped in a way that I felt called.
I know. I was waiting for the stuff to come out, so I'm glad you mentioned it. So, yeah. All right. So, without further ado, I know I'm going to have it listed, you guys, but where can we find you? Where do you like to hang out most, or where should we pay more attention to? And just let us know where we can find you.
Yeah, well, I talk about all these juicy gems weekly in my email series. So that's where you can find me in your inbox when you join the Lead for Justice weekly series. In terms of social, you can find me a couple times a week over on LinkedIn, sharing some thought leadership. And really, I'm over in Instagram stories daily, and I'm playing around with reels. I'm figuring out how to use my creativity to pull in and attract folks that want to do this work. So come find me, give me ideas, let me know what other spaces and places I can be of service and talk more about the many intricacies of justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion work and what you need during these times, because it requires not that we just burn it down, but we got to dismantle it and create new ways. And it's going to take all of us. So let's go.
I love that mic drop. We can just end that right there. But
but keep it short and sweet, bite size. I can do that.
Yes, I love it. That was like a mic drop right there. So you guys heard it from here first. You can find Jillian everywhere. As y'all know, I'll be leaving the links. So please, please, please connect with her. She has so many amazing things going on. And I am going to wrap up tonight, you guys. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight with, oh my God, I'm just about to name my own show, My Lazy Journey. And we'll be back next Tuesday.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Such a pleasure.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.